Okay, get this. What if I told you there's a nutrient pretty much hiding in plain sight that some scientists are starting to call a potential longevity vitamin? Today, we're going to unpack the science behind this mysterious molecule and what it could mean for all of us.
You know that old saying, let food be thy medicine? We've all heard it. But what if modern science is actually discovering that this ancient idea might point to one specific nutrient, one with the power to really influence how long and how well we live?
And that really brings us to the big question for today. Is it possible that a nutrient we've kind of forgotten about could be a major key to a longer, healthier life? Let's dive in and see what the evidence actually says.
All right, so our investigation starts with this really mysterious molecule that has scientists buzzing right now.
So let's meet our main character, ergothioneine. We'll just call it ergo for short. It's a lot easier. Now, at its core, it's an amino acid, but it acts as this incredibly powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory agent inside our bodies. But what makes ergo so special isn't just its antioxidant power. It's that our bodies, and in fact, all animal bodies, can't make it. At all. We have to get it from our diet. And the thing that makes it? It's something you might not expect. Fungi. And here's where the story gets really wild. Even though we can't make ergo ourselves, our bodies have evolved a highly specific transport protein designed just for it. That's right, we have a dedicated system just to find this one molecule and bring it into our cells. You can think of it like a VIP shuttle bus. Its whole purpose is to grab ergo from our gut and deliver it to the cells that are under the most oxidative stress. The fact that this system has stuck around through evolution is a massive clue that ergo plays a really vital role in our long-term health. So this leads to the obvious next question, right? If our bodies go to all this trouble to seek out and absorb ergo, where on earth are we supposed to get it from? Well, the answer, as it turns out, lies in the fungal kingdom. This is the mushroom connection. Now, because fungi are so common in healthy soil, you can find small amounts of ergo in a lot of different plants and animals. But the data shows that one dietary source isn't just a little higher in ergo, it's in a completely different league. And here's the proof. Just look at this chart. Edible mushrooms are, without a doubt, the richest source of ergothioneine in our diet. I mean, compare the levels in something like oats or chicken liver to what you see in white button and oyster mushrooms. The difference is just staggering. To put it in perspective, some common mushrooms, like the gray oyster, contain over 10 times the ERGO of other foods that are considered pretty high sources. It's not even a close competition. Okay, so we have this special molecule and we know its primary source. But what does this all mean for our health on a bigger scale? Well, researchers started looking for clues by comparing different countries. The approach was pretty simple but really powerful. They took data on the estimated daily ergo consumption in several countries, places like the US, Finland, France, and Italy, and they laid it right next to data on their national health statistics. And the pattern they found was pretty compelling. Countries with a higher estimated ERGO intake, like Italy, tended to have a higher average life expectancy. The US, with the lowest estimated intake among this group, had the lowest. And the correlation didn't stop there. They found a very similar pattern for deaths related to neurological diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Again, higher ERGO intake was associated with lower mortality rates. Now, it is absolutely critical to remember that this type of study only shows an association. It's not proving a direct cause and effect relationship. Of course, there could be other lifestyle factors at play, but the consistency of the pattern is a very, very strong clue that ergo is playing some kind of protective role. So the global data is intriguing for sure, but to get a clearer picture, we need to zoom in from countries to people and look at studies that actually tracked individual diets and their health over time. Okay. Now let's look at the hard data on mushroom consumption and its link to the risk of death from any cause, what scientists call all-cause mortality. And here's where the science gets really interesting. One large study of over 30,000 Americans found that mushroom eaters had a lower risk of death, but the result wasn't technically statistically significant. However, when researchers combined that study with 4 others in what's called a meta-analysis, creating this massive data set of over 600,000 people, a clear and significant link emerged. So why the different outcomes? Well, it really all comes down to statistical power. With that huge number of participants,
the meta-analysis could detect a real but maybe subtle effect that a smaller study might miss. This is exactly how scientific consensus gets built, by weighing all the evidence. And in this case, the overall weight of evidence points towards a protective effect.
When you put all this evidence together, the dedicated transporter in our bodies, the population data, the mortality studies, it all leads to a bigger and maybe more profound question about our modern food system.
Remember, ergo comes from fungi in the soil. Well, research now suggests that modern farming practices, especially heavy tilling that just breaks up all those fungal networks, might be depleting the amount of ergo in our soils. And this could mean that the crops grown in that soil, and even the animals that eat those crops, are getting less of this vital nutrient than they used to.
And this leaves us with a fascinating final thought. What if one of the secrets to our longevity isn't just about what we choose to put on our plates, but about how our food is grown? Could the health of the soil right beneath our feet be directly linked to our own well-being? It's a pretty powerful reminder that our health is deeply connected to the health of our planet.